One of the questions that people sometimes have about counseling is, can I use my insurance to cover counseling? And that's a really good question. So I'm just going to attempt to address a few things about that question here today. The first thing, there's actually about 3 things to consider in this question of, can I use my insurance to cover counseling? And the first thing is whether or not I'm a provider for that health insurance that you have. So for instance, I'm a provider for, let's say, Avera health insurance and Avera health plans. And what you would do is just let me know some of the information over the phone, and then I have my billing personnel check into your benefits, and sometimes different workplaces have different types of benefits. And so then I just let you know what that is, or my billing department gets back to you and lets you know what your benefits are. Within that provider status, you can be either in-network or out-of-network as a provider. So typically in-network will cover more, have a higher coverage, and out-of-network less, not quite as high of coverage as the in-network. The second thing to consider is the situation for which you are seeking counseling and whether or not that's covered by insurance. So a lot of the things that I see people for are covered, but there are some things that aren't. So that's, again, just something that's a matter of a phone call to see, is what I'm looking for in counseling something that's covered. And we usually cover that in the first phone call, just a real basic sense of what you're looking to get out of counseling. And I can usually tell about there on that phone call if it's going to be one of the things that will be covered or not under insurance. The third thing to consider is more a matter of opinion, and is something that's just more in your court, and that is whether or not you want to use insurance, because there's some pros and cons to it. The cons are that in using insurance, it necessitates that you receive a diagnosis, and some of those diagnoses aren't severe, but nonetheless you do need a diagnosis, and that diagnosis does stay on your charts just like any diagnosis for any health issue. But it's just something to know. And the third thing is the confidentiality is then waived just to the health insurance company so that they can process your claim. So it's not like confidentiality is waived in that your friends or family or neighbors or coworkers know that you're in counseling, but just for that, whatever claims processing department is, and if by chance they've hired a third party to do that processing for them, you waive that ability to, or you give permission for them to do what, to process their claims. Your claims, rather. Oh, videos. Catching it all. So the pro, obviously, is getting to use your insurance, and that the cost is much less. So those are really the 3 things to keep in mind when asking that really good question of, does my insurance coverage cover counseling? And just feel free to give me a call if you have any other questions about that, or if you want to check and see if your insurance would cover counseling. Just feel free to give me a call. Thanks so much.